who is the most powerful faction in Marvel Strike Force? Well, you can make an argument for a few different teams. So in this video, OhMGee and I, we are counting down the top 5 factions for Marvel Strike Force. So if you are ready to see if your favorite faction makes this list, let's go smash it.
ValleyFlyin.
What up, Valley Maniacs? ValleyFlyin here. I am back. Welcome to the channel, and I am joined by my brother from another mother, OhMGee, aka MobileGamer. What is up, brother? How are you doing?
I've got a question for you. Am
Yes.
I a Valley Maniac? Am I a Valley Maniac? I need to know.
I wanna ask you that. Are you a Valley Maniac?
I'm a Valley Maniac.
Nice!
I mean, at least I'm a maniac. Like I said earlier, I'm chilling like a villain.
Ooh, yeah, baby. All right. But we are talking about more than just Valley Mania in this video. No, we are talking about the top 5 factions in the game. So not necessarily the teams, because there's all kind of real cool teams that you can make. So to keep it simple, we're going to talk about the top 5 factions in this game. And there is no one faction that dominates every single game mode anymore. So there's going to be some trade-offs with each team. What do you think about the teams and the situations going on right now with all of these pre-made squads? I know you didn't like it back in the day. How are you liking it now?
I actually really like it. You know, that was a big complaint. I was kind of worried about it. It's like, are we going to be forced into this situation where one team rules them all? And it was specifically with S.H.I.E.L.D. It was like, S.H.I.E.L.D., S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. was good in every game mode, and S.H.I.E.L.D. was dominant in every game mode, and S.H.I.E.L.D. was, frankly, in my opinion, it was kind of boring to play because it just would take forever, especially on autoplay. It was just like, and it was like, what is this game coming to? Is it just going to be S.H.I.E.L.D., S.H.I.E.L.D., S.H.I.E.L.D.? So I made a bunch of videos about that, and everything is different now. It doesn't play out like that. There's theory crafting going on in the arena. There's teams that are good in certain modes that are not in good. I think it's beautiful. I mean, we talked about it. I actually think it's absolutely brilliant the way the game is set up right now.
Yeah, I was right there with you when it was happening, but now that we've had some time to digest about this, I like it. I like the direction the game is right now.
It's not boring, and there is still a lot of flexibility to theory craft. I mean,
yes.
Even though we're going to be talking about factions in this video, you know, some of these teams are not optimal with their sole faction, and I know we're going to talk about Guardians, but rarely do you want to use a full Guardians team. You can, and they're good, but usually there's some sort of derivative of Guardians that's better in certain game modes, and I just really love that idea.
Yeah, a lot of the top teams in most of the game modes are like combo teams that are hybrids of these main factions, and then they have a few replacements, and that makes them way better. But as far as the factions, there's a few of them, and there's a few that fell off the list. One team not making this list, Defenders, and I don't even know if I would recommend them for mid or late game players unless you already have them or need another team. What are your thoughts on Defenders before we get into this list?
All right, I already shot the video. I haven't posted it yet, but yeah, there is some benefit to very early new players in using Defenders. You know, you need to be able to get through the raids and do whatever raids your guild is doing, and then you also need to get through certain nodes of the campaign, like Nexus.
Yeah.
But at some point, you just need to make a hard stop and stop upgrading the Defenders. And I'm not sure exactly where that is unless I created a new account, but it's probably somewhere between 120,000 and 150,000. And you can go higher than 150,000 with your Defenders, but you know, taking your Defenders up to 300,000, you know, today doesn't seem like an efficient use of resources. There are a lot of other teams that are better in every single game mode. You know, they're not making the top 5 at all. And I see 300K power defender teams all the time. It's like, wow, that was a lot of work to get that to 300K.
And then you got a 200K power armor squad that just blows right through them. Like, man, I didn't have to invest nearly that much in that squad. But speaking of power armor, they're coming in, boom, at number 5 on this list. Now, they're not dominant in more than 3 game modes, and this is the only squad on this list that is only dominant in 2. There's a lot of squads that are dominant in 2 game modes, but Power Armor, one of the best, if not the best war team right now, and Blitz, they're pretty much you could hit the buttons in the right order. Nothing else really matters. And almost the autoplay squad. What are your thoughts on power armor?
Well, okay, so
at number 5. At number 5.
Okay, so at number 5, yes, it's a good place for it. They can punch up huge inside of war, and that is their primary function, is to punch up in war. So you've already mentioned this, that a 200k power armor team can punch up huge numbers inside of war.
Yeah.
80,000 is not uncommon, 100,000 not uncommon. I've heard numbers higher than that. A correctly maneuvered and piloted power armor team should be able to win against anything, Ultron, anything, and punch up a significant amount. So, if you're going to be playing up against an Ultron team that has 40k more power, usually power armor's not going to even struggle. And of course, in Blitz, as long as you're able to win against defenders in 8.3 in Blitz, they become a good Blitz team.
Yeah, just do the thing in the right order, and it's automatic win pretty much with the power armor. All right, so not much else to say. They're very dominant and very good at what they do. Next team, coming in at number 4. This is going to be a shock to some people, especially long-time players. Shield. They used to dominate every single game mode.
Right.
And they're still good in a lot of game modes. And if you don't have Phoenix and Ultron and Magneto, they'll probably still do good in Arena. But they're primarily a Blitz team. They're good in War. They don't punch up huge like the Power Armor does. And they're one of the better raid teams. What do you think about them coming in at number 4 on this list?
Yeah, like you said, if you were going to say like well-rounded, they are easily the best, most well-rounded team. Like that team can do more in every game mode than, but they're not the best of anything anymore. They're not the best at anything. They're not the best in Arena. They're not the best in War. They're not the best in raids. In fact, they're probably third in all of those categories. But as far as being efficient and good in every single place of the game, yes, more. And that mostly has to do with their sustain mechanic and having the ability to survive and just go. It's a good team.
Yeah, very, very strong. And like you said, they do very well. One other knock against them that I didn't mention, you got to farm basically 2 teams just to get this shield team. And that is a huge knock, and that's why they fell off a little. They fell down the list, and I don't think that's too far of a stretch to say that they're at number 4. But shield.
Kree minions, which are required to get Nick Fury, was a mediocre team when they were reworked, and now they're less than mediocre. I don't even know if they would make a top 10 faction list. I mean, the bottom of the, they're moving down and down. It's becoming where there's only a couple teams worse than them. Like Hand is worse than Kree, but that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's true. Kree is not as bad, but yeah, they definitely, it's not worth farming up Kree just so you get one character and then you could build your shield team. But yeah. Next team on the list, coming in at number 3. This might shock some people, Brotherhood. So solid in Arena, and even in some of the top Arena shards, you're still using some elements of Brotherhood. They are dominant in War. They could punch up very, very well, especially against specific teams. And Blitz, pretty much an auto win on 8.3 with Brotherhood if they're built correctly. The only place they really struggle is raids. But one thing I did mention to you before we started recording this, I'm getting through about 2 or 3 Gamma nodes with my Brotherhood team. So they're not the worst in the raids. They're just not built for that game mode. What do you think about them at number 3 on this list?
Well, and the reason why they're not the best at raids is not a lot of no sustain, and their abilities are all front loaded and they have long cooldowns. So, and the other thing is that there are 2 kits out there that are 3 characters that pretty much trivialize Magneto's awesome ability. We're talking about Phoenix, Rhino, and Psylocke. Pretty much have negated the dominance of Magneto. But if we take a look at Magneto paired up with Juggernaut, I mean, just those 2 right there is such a powerful combo where those 2 can be inserted almost anywhere, and it's very effective. Now, You saying you're getting use out of raids? Yeah, I use them one time.
You gotta play them very differently in the raids than you would in arena and war. You gotta switch up the turn orders to make it effective.
Yeah, you can blast through one node and that's fine. But as far as having like sustain and being able to continuously go through the raids and ramp up and go, it doesn't happen. But yeah, they're still a staple team in arena, staple team in war, pretty much an auto win in blitz every single time. I don't even have to look at the screen. It's fantastic.
It is. Yeah, so not much else to say about Brotherhood. They're very good, falling off a little bit with some of these newer characters, but still very, very good team.
Ironically enough, defenders can give Brotherhood a run for their money, of all things.
Yes, because of Jessica Jones. Because of Jessica Jones.
Yeah. I mean, they're dependent on negative status effects, so anything that can cleanse is going to be a counter to Brotherhood, right?
So if you're using Brotherhood against the defenders, if you could take out Jessica Jones very early on, you will beat defenders pretty easily. If you can't, you're going to be in trouble the whole battle and kind of playing from behind. So
the irony counters. Everything counters something, right? It seems like.
It does. Speaking of counters, this might be a counter to the popular opinion out there, but coming in at number 2, I put Guardians there, and I know some people are going to argue with this because it's the elements of the Guardians that makes them really big in a lot of different game modes. The raids, the pure Guardians team can do well in the raids, not really dominant in the raids, but they can do well. They could do well in blitz. And some elements of this team also does very well in Fear the Darkness. So as far as well-roundedness, taking the pieces, and I'm especially talking about Rocket, Star-Lord, and Groot, and putting them other teams, make them a very good team. What are your thoughts on them all the way at number 2? You agree with this decision? Because I was struggling with putting them this high.
Okay, you could make an entire video about keeping Guardians together or splitting them apart. Some people will make a strong case to keep them together. Other people will split them apart. I mean, there's tons of... Every single one of these characters can be put somewhere else. Out of the 6 Guardians, you could put Gamora on Hero Brawlers, and in raids, you definitely can pair up Mantis with Drax and maybe put Mantis and Drax on a team with Ultron to use anywhere, right? And then the key 3, though, you're right, is Groot, Rocket, and Star-Lord, which is a key component to BKT, Fear the Darkness, so on. But even as a team by himself, basically the Guardians team without Gamora is very good in raids and in blitz and in war and in arena. They're good, and then I think there's no downside to upgrading all of these pieces of this team because they're useful elsewhere, even if they're not used inside of the Guardians team. I love Guardians. I think it's a mid-late game team that is very efficient and no regrets in putting ability mats in and gearing up Star-Lord and Rocket or Groot. It's felt good.
Yeah, this is a good team. I use all 6 Guardians almost every day. Whether it's in the BKE team or my Hero Brawlers team or Drax and Mantis, they're on my Ultron team. So I use these guys every single day. So no regrets at all with the Guardians. They're a solid team, and the elements of them are very, very good.
And not only that, but you can use there's 6 Guardians, right?
Yes.
And you can use the 5 Guardians to get the 6th Guardian.
Yes, it's perfect.
So you're using the 5 Guardians to unlock Star-Lord, which is the leader, right? He has basically a leadership ability in his passive. And so it's not like Nick Fury where you have to go and do cream minions and they're I'm liking them less and less every day. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh my goodness. Where it's like with Guardians, you can take those 5 and get Star-Lord, which is beautiful. And so while you're working on those 5, then you get Star-Lord and it's just like magically a lot better. And then you upgrade your Star-Lord and then it just keeps going. And there's no like abandoning that Kree minion team once it's done. It's like, I got my Nick Fury, throw that team away, it's done. It all builds and progresses together and eventually leads you towards Ultron, which is amazing.
so many good things to say about this team. I like them, and for that 5 for the 6, I might start recommending this for new players, because just those 6 without the Star-Lord, they're not the best raid team. They might not even be the top 5 raid teams. They're a decent raid team without Star-Lord. So,
well, Star-Lord really makes them work, and it's kind of hard to get the team going early, but it's definitely a priority. Once you've been playing the game for a couple of months, to be focusing on Guardians, definitely a priority.
Get them as soon as you can is my recommendation.
Yeah, I would go Guardians before Shield at this point.
Oh, definitely. I'm actually thinking they're the second team that people should go after, right after Defenders, as soon as you can start to get that. But yeah, Guardians, very, very good. And I think by this list, you could guess who I'm placing at number 1 in the top 5 factions. It is the thing that's dominating Arena right now. Maybe not the whole entire team, but elements of this team are dominating Arena, and it is the XMen team. What are your thoughts on XMen coming in at number 1?
Well, the interesting thing about XMen is that it's a very good team right now. It's mostly about Phoenix, and her matching tank. Storm is there, and that's kind of nice. Wolverine doesn't really do a lot. Psylocke is amazing and situational, but the whole team together is just fantastic and beautiful. And I'm guessing that sometime in the future, with Cyclops, we can be releasing. I mean, that's the thing about both Shield and X-Men right now. It's like, where's Coulson? Where's Cyclops? I mean, is this list going to be useless when those characters are released? I don't know. Because they're both of those teams are possibly one character away from being entirely different.
Yeah, well, X-Men I think is still going to be on the top. Shield I think is going to bump up a few notches. I don't think Coulson is enough to overtake the X-Men. But
right, and a lot of people are making these predictions based off data mine kits. We don't know if any of that information was accurate or when or anything. And they could change their mind, do something differently.
Okoye, Loki.
Yeah, right? I mean, the Okoye kit that was data mined forever was very different than the final version that was released into the game. But right now, it's interesting thing is, like, a lot of people have said, Phoenix, because she dies and is a summon, she's not good in raids. She's not good on defense on war. Maybe not. I mean, if you have to waste a team beating them in war, did it do its job? If you have to use 2 teams to beat 1 team, was it effective or not?
Yes, it is. It is.
and in raids, it's just kind of annoying because you have to spend the refreshes, but it's like, and that's expensive, right? And it's not the best, but there are certain nodes where I found Phoenix to be very effective, and it was kind of annoying that I had to but her sustain and her kit is actually decent in raids. It's just that you have to spend the refreshes or the cores.
If you don't mind reviving every node, it will dominate raids as well. But
and then as an individual standalone character in the context of war, Blitz, and Arena, Phoenix is just over the top.
Solid, yeah. Arena, you could take in a full X-Men team and do very well on offense in Arena right now. Blitz, it's almost the auto team in themselves in 8.3, and then
it is. I use it. I don't even look at the phone. It's make sure I get a correct matchup, hit autoplay.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's an autoplay team in Blitz. My goodness, it's amazing.
So there's a list, guys. What do you think of this list?
It's good. I'm glad that we've got factions, but then I'm also glad that we've got individual characters in this game that are solid. That are plug and play, and I'm talking about Captain Marvel and Ultron, and even a lot of these teams. Even a lot of these teams that we're talking about right here. In addition to Minerva, they're pairs. Phoenix with Colossus. Magneto with Juggernaut. Nick Fury with Shield Security. Those are good plug and play sets. And then you even have that with Guardians. You can basically take Star-Lord and Rocket. That's not that's just damage dealer and damage dealer. But they're great together in many other teams.
Love it. let me know what you guys think of this top 5 faction list, guys. And let me know your own top 5 factions. Do you agree with the placement? Do you not agree with it? Let me know, guys. And OhMGee, tell everybody where they could find you.
The interwebs.
The interwebs. Look for him, guys. Check out his channel. He's got some good stuff. The link is in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you want to support the channel. Share this with your friends. And ring the bell, guys. Join that notification squad. And check out some of the links in the description. BlueStacks, Patreon, Valley merch. And I will see you guys next time. Oh, what?
Do you want to hear my Valley Maniac roar?
Yes.
Are you ready? Okay.
Yes.
Meep.
Ooh. That was stronger than I thought. I will see you guys next time. Hulk fist pump. ValleyFlyin. Meep.